Pound for Pound Sports Entertainment. Hit the like button, comment below, share, do all of that right now. Hit the subscribe button for all things sports entertainment related. We got the champ, Dat Nguyen, right here with us. What's going on, man?
Oh, just gonna get ready to get back to Bkfc. Possibly. David sent me the contract for Johnny Bedford for the Myrtle Beach date, January 27th. So looking forward to that date.
I mean, you've been out the ring for what, about a year and some change, man. What happened? What's going on?
Yeah, after the Palomino fight, David said, "Do you want a rematch?" I said yes, and like I said, the whole time I was just waiting for a good matchup. And at the same time, I bought a new house, so I had to do a lot of remodel. And I told David, look, I can't be training for a fight if my house is under construction.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your opponent's gonna be Johnny Bedford. It's the rematch. You already defeated him one time for the belt.
Mhm.
What can fans expect for that?
This time around,
Hmm.
like I said, it's gonna be I think we both know each other very well now, so we'll see how it plays out. But like I said, I'm looking to be impressive, in this fight. The last fight, but Johnny did a lot of dirty things, so I think he's been humble. He was undefeated, so he thought he was on top of the world until he met someone like me who comes to fight and not gonna run away from him.
Hmm. I'm looking forward to that fight. It's gonna be a good fight. A rumored, well, the interim bantamweight champion Reggie Barrnet Jr. He called you out after his latest win. What was your thoughts on that when he called you out?
I think he's been wanting to fight me forever. So like I said, I thought I was gonna fight him or Bedford. So I think David wants me to fight Bedford. So like I said, I told David I'll be ready by January. I was looking forward to December. This month that I was gonna fight, but David didn't have any date for me, and like I said, I tell him, look, we need to work out the situation with the contract and the fight purse, and I'm not taking no notice fight. You know what I mean? Like when I fought Johnny Bedford, when I fought Luis Palomino, they give me 5 weeks. They sent me the contract 5 weeks, and I was running a restaurant, and I have to put everything aside and just focus on training. Now that I sold my business, I have more time to focus on my fights. But like right now, it's 6 weeks away from the fight, and I'm not even training serious yet because I haven't really signed the contract yet. You know what I mean? Like I said, bare knuckle is a salvage sport. It's very salvage, and you're not gonna have a long career, especially the type of fighter that I am. I come to fight. I'm not trying to run. Um, and it's gonna be a war with me and Johnny again, and we need to be compensated correctly. If they're gonna underpay me and pay those UFC guys more than they pay me, it's like a slap in my face. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for big money here. I'm looking to be at least somewhat close to what those guys are getting paid. But if they're underpaying me, then I like it kind of disappoint me in a way. You know what I mean? I've come in here to build the company, and like me, the few guys like Lorenzo, Johnny Bedford, the few guys that comes to fight and put everything on the line. And look at those UFC guys. They come in there and they get knocked out. I mean, they don't display any kind of heart, and they get paid way more, and they get fed bums. I fight the toughest fight possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, say you beat Johnny Bedford, Reggie Barnett has already called you out, like we previously just said. He's the interim champ. Would
Right.
that mean automatically he's going to get his shot against you? Because you say he's been wanting to fight you for a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut him up. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's been a long time. It's annoying, to keep somebody keep calling you. So I like I said, I'm not ducking him or anything. He was lucky that I was supposed to fight him. I think in November of 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and that I was in the best shape of my life. I trained really hard, and just happened that 10 days before the fight, I came out with a cold. And my first fight, when I fought Jarvis Thompson, I came with a flu. So
Mhm.
I fought with a flu, and I know how it felt. I mean, if you look at my career, there was 3 times that I fought with a flu, and I fought anyway. I mean, the time that I fought Jason Velez, I was sick. I was sick. Every time when you haven't been training seriously, and all of a sudden every 2 years you got a high level fight, and me, I pushed myself to the limit, and then my immune system break down the last week of the fight,
Yeah.
and I came with a cold, and I still fought because I felt I still could beat this guy. You know what I mean? And I thought I won those fights. Same thing with Travis Thompson's fight, the first bare knuckle fight.
Mm.
I almost pulled the plug on that fight, but you know what? I said, you know what? I'm gonna go out there and see how it goes the first round or two. So after two rounds, I was very winded because I was sick. I was drinking Nyquil at night, and trying to, I was in the hotel for 3 days, and I was drinking Nyquil, and I don't let nobody know. Because then if you let people know you're sick, it gives your opponent a boost of confidence to know that you're not 100%.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe they think like, oh, he's trying to come up with some kind of excuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me, like I said, I'm not gonna go in there and for a little bit of money. Like I said, I came to Bare Knuckle. I didn't get paid. I fight for, for the history. You know what I mean? For the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But David saw that, and he gave me the opportunity. But now that I'm the champ, and I understand that a few years ago the company was struggling and they were barely making money. But now that they got the Triller money, they got $50 million in the chest bank, $100 million. They need to be able to pay me somewhat, what they were paying John Dodson or those guys. I'm gonna smash those guys. You know what I mean? I come to fight.
That's a fight you're interested in for big money?
Yeah. I mean, John Dodson. That's the fight I look forward because he's been in the UFC. Most of the UFC fighters, they have a huge following.
Mm-hmm.
They have a more following than boxers. I mean, boxers are catching up now, but the way that the UFC has marketed their fighters, and, they have more followers. If you look at all the UFC fighters compared to the boxers, yeah. So David is basing on the pay on the followers and. But like I said, when I fight, I come from a boxing background, so when I fight, all the boxing fans tune in because they want to see high level boxing with bare knuckle. You know what I mean? I've been in the sport of boxing for 20 years, so and I'm a championship caliber. You know what I mean? I just never got the opportunity.
And we're definitely gonna get into the boxing, but as far as you and the owner of the Bkfc, Mr. David Philman, how's your relationship with him?
I used to be very close with him. A few years ago, I met him in 2016 when he was with King Promotion. Marshall Coven was like his friend, and Marshall kind of showed him the rope. So that's when I met David Feldman. He wanted to promote bare knuckle in Florida in 2016, and I guess the Seminole Indian, they turned him down last minute. We've been in contact since then, and once I realized that he made bare knuckle legal, I contacted him and I said I want to reach out to him and fight. I want to be a world champion. Don't worry about paying me the money. He's like, look, we're not paying a lot of money at this point. We're trying to build a brand. And I tell him, look, let me help you build the brand. Then when I get the belt, you give me the fight that I want, and just pay me fairly. And I'll tell you, but don't pay those guys more than me because like I said, me and David are very close before. Now that since he become he's a CEO of a huge company right now. So he watched what he says and watch who he talks to now because one mistakes could they could go viral. You know what I mean? and so I think lately we kind of been distant a little bit. I call him, he don't pick up. I text him, he respond a few words here and there, but other than that, he keep his distance.
How big do you see the Bkfc getting? Because you said they got the Triller deal, but as far as a career in Bkfc, it's not gonna last that long due to the punishment.
Right. Every time you fight, you most likely gonna get cut. You're gonna get cut regardless, because your skin is not as tough as the knuckle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And how many times can you get cut? Every time you get cut, you need a few months to heal. You know what I mean? You need. Especially depend where it is. If it's above the eye, you can lose an eye. You can lose a teeth. And you know what? Most of the time, you don't know you get injury until 60 days later. When something comes up, be like, oh wow, So, but the commission, the insurance that they have is only good for 30 days. So if anything happens after that, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? Like I said, they need to be able to, like I said, bare knuckle is more savage. The good thing about it is it's high pace. It's only 10 minutes long. If it goes any longer, I don't think a fighter can fight more than 10, 15 pounds in bare knuckle if they fight it at high level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So me, I mean, this is my fifth fight. If I do a rematch with Bedford, this is gonna be a war again. I'm trying to, Bedford comes to fight. You know what I mean? He fighting with pride and heart. So he truly believed that he's the greatest bare knuckle fighter ever. So when you fight somebody who truly believed that, they're gonna come to fight. You know what I mean? I
Absolutely.
didn't realize that he wasn't the best when he fought me. And it hurts him. So that's why he wants to get that rematch. So he's gonna come with a different intensity this time.
Mm-hmm. Um, let's go ahead and talk about the Luis Palomino fight. I
Yeah.
know you've been very vocal about that fight. Every time he posts something, whenever somebody mentions his name or whatever, you're just on him. You were in attendance to his last fight against Tom Loloff
Yeah.
over, the Hard Rock Cafe, Hard Rock Hotel in Hollywood, Florida. What was your thoughts on his performance?
I didn't watch much. I mean, I figured Crawford was made for him. It was supposed to make him look good. That dude comes to fight, but he leaves himself wide open for counters, and he stands straight up. He does a little bit head movement here and there, but he's straight up. Those kind of guy that you throw a punch, you can't miss. You know what I mean? And Palomino, he's the type of fighter once he see that he's more dominant than his opponent, he's gonna go for the kill. And it was a good fight. I mean, I didn't even watch. I only saw clip. Like, even though that I was there, I didn't care much about it. But I kind of predict how the fight would play out. I figured that this fight was supposed to make Palomino look good, and after my last fight with him, I kind of exposed him, so a lot of fighters don't fear him no more. When a fighter is undefeated, everybody fear him. Like, oh, this guy's a beast. He's knocking people out. I went in there and fought him with that mentality. Like, I don't give a shit who the hell you are. You know what I mean? I made him run everywhere and show the true side of him. That his heart is very tiny when you force him to fight. So so the other two fighters that he fought, three fighters that he fought Brown, he fought the other two kids, and then he fought Shakur. Those guys no longer fear him. They see that there's a blueprint to beat him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, he is Bkfc's first double champ. You know what I'm saying? But when you guys fought, my personal opinion, that was a close fight. That was a good close fight. A lot of people had you winning. Even in the comment section, no matter what he posts, they're on him. They always saying, "Oh, you lost to dad." Like, it's
right.
Yeah.
I easily won the first 2-3 rounds. I mean, the first 2 rounds was a shutout for me. The punch, the first round where I slipped, that wasn't a knockdown. Who knows? Maybe the judge scored it as a knockdown where they had me losing that round. But that round, I hurt him. And when I threw when I watched the replay, I knew a lot of people, anytime your hand touched the canvas, they think you get knocked down, right? That was from a right hook, and I missed, and the momentum threw me off. And so who knows? Maybe the judge thought I got knocked down, and then if you could see, once I threw and I missed, I slipped, and Palomino trying to come forward, and he see that it was a slip. He didn't want to attack. He was scared. I was ready to throw again. So that round, I think in the 1 minute 30 seconds to the round, I hurt him. With an overhand right and clocked him really good. He buckled his leg, and then he started running after that. He started running. So the third round came, he hit me with an elbow. Because he didn't hit me with anything and all. Because when you hit somebody, I know. You know what I mean? I was like, this guy missing all his punch, and all of a sudden I started getting cut out of my bra. And I was like, there's no way to come from punch. But like I said, I went home and watched the video in slow motion. It was in the elbow. This guy who like I said, who throws in the elbow? Like, let me hang on 1 second. Let me fix this camera here. Who throws in the elbow with their hands like this and raise up the elbow? That's a cheater's move. You know what I mean? That guy's a cheater. You know what I mean? And I lose respect for him. I used to like him. I used to think that he was one of the greatest fighters out there in bare knuckle. But since he below me, and a champion, like me, I've been a man of my word. I grew up around Hawaii. You know what I mean? I grew around a lot of bullies, and I don't like bullies. you have to respect everybody. You have to, you know what I mean, regardless if you think you can beat that person or not. You don't belittle them. You know what I mean? Because you think you're a bigger person, you think you can belittle me. You know, you don't know my mentality. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I lost all respect for him because he's the type of piece of shit fighter he is. He wants to pick on the weak. You know what I mean? So I show him I wasn't a weak guy. So that's why he don't want to fight me again. Yeah.
So I mean, even if you get past Johnny Bedford and Reggie Barrnet, you still think he's not going to fight you?
Like I said, I was at the fight. He was trying to avoid me as much as possible. I was like, Palomino. He was so scared to even look at me. His whole team. They basically they just want to get over it with. He was lucky. He was lucky in that fight that I wasn't even at my best. I told you, like, about 3.5 weeks before the fight, I injured my lower back, so I had to take a 1 week rest because I know that if I cancel that fight with a back injury, David is not gonna give me that rematch. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I had to make sure that. So I went to therapy, and my friend was a massage therapist, and so he did some therapy there, some electronic stimulation with those high tech electronic system,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt good a week later, and I had a back brace. If you notice all my training videos, I had a back brace the whole time.
Hmm.
uh, so during the fight, I don't expose my injury, you know what I mean. But in that fight, by the I think it was like by the fourth or fifth round, my back got stiffed again, so it was hard for me. So the fifth round came. I thought I was winning. I thought I was winning at least 4-1 or 3-1 by the fourth round. I know. I mean, I know when as men to men, if you win in the fight or not. You chasing this guy around and he's not hurting you, and you hurting him, and he's scared to even exchange with you.
Mm-hmm.
You win in the fight. So I was like, you know what? This last round, I'm gonna box him a little bit, and then he mustered enough courage in the last 15 seconds, and try to come in there. And basically, what he did is he pushed me, so get me off balance, and then jump on me and push his whole weight on my back, and
Mm-hmm.
it made it even worse. You know what I mean? Made my back even worse. So, and then I grabbed onto his leg because when you push me, he wants me to go down on the floor. You know what I mean? And because I've been a wrestler, if somebody push you down with the head, you do? You go for a takedown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You put the leverage in close, or you don't back out. You back out, you get hit with the end of the punch, right? The
Yes, sir.
safest, if somebody push your head down and they try to hit you, the safest bet for you is to go forward and grab them and freaking lift them up, or go for a takedown.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go to the floor, that's a knockdown, and there's no way that he didn't hit me with a punch. It didn't hurt me, so why would I go to the floor? And for me, as a high IQ fighter, I'm not gonna back out. I back out, I get hit with a punch, I'm gonna get knocked out. I don't see.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't know that, you know what I mean? And there was a lot of big money placed on me. 2 days later, David called me and said, there was big money placed on you to win, and he knows I was marketable. So if I'm marketable, and there's $1 million placed on me to win, and I was like, David, how do you know that there was $1 million placed on me to win? I mean, that's big bet, right? $1 million on me to win.
Yep.
I was 2-1 underdog. So David knows that. So he obviously accept the bet or somehow work with the bookmaker.
Wasn't it some controversy behind the scenes, like right before the fight or during?
Oh yeah, right before the fight, you don't even know. Like they basically, the whole time, like I said, Palomino walking in with his whole team, Lorenzo Hunt walking in with his whole team, walking in with strippers, right? 3-4 strippers. Me, I'm here with my son, my wife, and my kids. And guess what? They blocked my wife, my son from going in with me. What kind of fucking bullshit is this? I'm here fighting for your company, and you disrespect me. I'm the one that's selling $40,000 worth of ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like shit. I'll tell you, fuck this guys. Fuck them. I speak with my heart. I'm the type of person, if you don't like me, fucking say it in front of me. You know what I mean? So Nate Shook and the vice president, Dave Crunson, he's the vice president of operation. Right before I walk out, they had me right as the dirt fight, the girls fight, right? Gonzalez versus Brittany Hart. Right as they walk out, they had me walking out to the locker. I was like, where's Palomino? Why you had me walk out? This fight is going to last at least 10, 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though if they have a knockout, as soon as the knockout comes, there's another 10 more minutes before the next come.
Yep.
They had me walking over there and trying to make a big scene. Said, the commission said you can't walk your son out. So how did I walk out my son with the first fight, the second fight? You know what I mean? How come nobody tell me shit in the second fight? They basically trying to distract me and trying to play game. So I said, you know what? If the commission said that I can't walk my son out, I want to speak to the commission right now. Bring the commission here. If the commission in charge at that moment tell me that, I will make sure that I won't bring my son up. Just bring the commission here. Or, if the commission tell you, you can. I want to speak to David. I want to speak to David. I'm pretty sure David is the one that said any kind of word. You know what I mean? I don't want to say bad things about it, but they trying to distract my focus there before the fight. So I was coming in with very upset before the fight even started.
You know what? Even having to go through and deal with all the stuff, the back injury, the distraction before the fight, you still went in there and put on a hell of a performance, man. Salute to you for real, man.
Like I said, I wasn't, like I said, I could have been way better. So they know what the fuck they were doing. You know what I mean? They know what the fuck they were doing. I don't like that. That's fucking. That's why. Recently I blocked Bkfc. I blocked blocked Nation Black, those guys, and they piss off because they always go to my Instagram page. So I block all of them. But you know what? I said, you know what? I should forgive them. I forgive them. And so they can look at my page and get like, this guy is just irking me. So anyway, David is the boss at the end of the day. He's the one to make the decision who he wants to fight, who he wants on the company. You can't build a company with shit fighter. You know what I mean? You can bring in all those big names, and guess what? It's a one-time thing. You can bring in the biggest name in there, but it's a one-time thing. You're paying them $1 million for a one-time show. You gain the fan base for that one night. And guess what? The next show, what's gonna happen? You gotta build the fighter from the ground up. That's what the UFC does. You know what I mean? The UFC built those guys from the ground up. Built Conor McGregor from the ground up. Built Ronda Rousey from the ground up. You know what I mean? You can't just take those guys in for one fight and you expect the fans to maintain and have the viewership.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
We need stability. You definitely need. You got to have a stable of fighters, man. Consistency.
I mean, like I said, I've been a business major. I studied computer information system in college, so I was a computer engineer. I study, mathematics. I study science. And business. That's why I was able to open my own restaurant because I'm a very, very well schooled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just a boxer. I'm a businessman as well. And I see the business side of thing, and I speak to David. I'm the one that give David the idea. I said, when Bare Knuckle FC first came out, they had the black canvas, right? Mm-hmm. I said, David, I called David, and I said, David, you need to have a white canvas. You put a white canvas on, it brings the whole, it makes the whole freaking thing shines. Mm-hmm. And I think he listened to me, and then now you see most of the time they have a white canvas on there. When you have a black canvas, it don't reflect the same way with the lighting. You know what I mean? It's how you present the stage. And so I think once he changed to white canvas, everything looks so much better because you can see the blood, you can see the sponsorship glows too.
Absolutely. So what made you switch from boxing? Because we're gonna get into the boxing, but what made you switch from boxing to bare knuckle?
Like I said, after I fought Miguel Flores, I was signed with King Promotion, and King Promotion was connected with Al Hammond, with PBC. So they promote a lot of shows because me and Marshall Kaufman at King Promotion went a long way. I know his son. His son is Travis Kaufman. We were roommate in the Olympic Training Center. So when I turned professional, I went with Marshall Kaufman. He got me my first 3 fights, and I left him to come down here to train with Buddy McGirt. So years later, I contacted him again. I said, you know what? Why don't you get me a fight with PBC? And I'll sign with you. He's like, you know what? Yeah, I can get you a fight on PBC if you sign a contract with me. So that's what I did. I signed a contract with him, and I got 2 fights. Because I said I haven't been active for so long. He got me 2 fights, and then I got those 2 winning, and then he wants me to continue. Because every time I fight, I sell $15,000-$20,000 worth of tickets because I that's the reason why Marshall and David wants me to fight in Florida. My 4th fight in BKFC, I sold $100,000 worth of tickets. So what I mean, if the company is not making money to ticket sale, they have to make money to viewership or subscription, right? So because Bkfc was a growing company at the beginning, they didn't have enough subscription, so they were burning money. They were burning $1 million every show, um, through production, flight, bringing the fighter, paying the fighter. Like I said, the fighter have to be able to sell ticket and put seats in there for you to break even or make a profit. You know what I mean? But David's trying to build a brand. He's looking at burning the money, but at the same time, he's gonna get the Fortune 500 sponsorship to come in later on. So now I think the company is growing rapidly, and they have a lot of huge sponsorship, and they got Triller to be involved. So Triller bought 49% of the company. So they got a lot of money in the back to move the company the way they want.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but as far as with boxing, basically I went with Marshall Kaufman, right? So after I beat, they basically brought me in. I told Marshall, look, I'm not gonna continue to fight club, show, and sell $15,000-$20,000 ticket, and I'm over here making a few grand. You know what I mean? Because if you fight on a local show, they don't want to pay you $5,000 at most. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And over here I'm selling $15,000 worth of ticket sales. It don't make sense for me. I'm here. Nobody watch me. Nobody sees where I'm fighting because it's not televised. Mm-hmm. So I told Marshall, look, if you can get me a TV fight, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'm not fighting. So he finally got me a fight with Miguel Flores on the main event, and I took the fight for the opportunity. I was like, you know what? I beat this kid. He was ranked number 2 in the WBA. I beat this kid. I'll be able to take his ranking. Mm-hmm. And I tell myself, look, I better train my ass off. So when he gave me the go, when he said, look, I got you a fight with Miguel Flores, the next thing, once I hear that phone, I went running right away. I was motivated. I knew I was going to beat this kid. My life is going to change. So I went in there and beat this kid, and I thought I was going to be, ranking in the WBA ranking. And I thought I was going to be able to, fight bigger fight, another TV fight. Nothing happened. So a few months go by, I call Marshall. I was like, Marshall, you got another TV fight for me? He's like, no, not right now. I guess, I said, can you contact El Him and see if he can get me on, as him as an advisor or something, I didn't have a manager at the time. So Marshall was the promoter and playing the manager's role at the same time, because, so he's like, El Him is not interested in you. I'm like, all right. Okay, then at least get me a TV fight. I'm willing to fight anybody. So Marshall couldn't get me a TV fight. So I told David, I told Marshall, you know what? I'm just gonna quit boxing because now that I see the bullshit side of give me a false promise. I was hurt. Like, man, I'm not making shit money. I'm fighting on TV, fighting number 2 guy ranked going where I didn't even get a title shot. I didn't even get another TV fight. So I was very disappointed in boxing, and I thought I was going to quit boxing to be a restaurant owner, So I built the restaurant for 19 months, and I opened the restaurant. Mm-hmm. And then bare knuckle became legal. That's when I reached out to David.
Okay. I mean, see, I hate hearing stories like that because I don't like the politics in boxing. I can't stand the politics. I think that holds up a lot of fights. It kind of holds back a lot of guys.
It's really not politics. It's about the fighter's marketability. You know what I mean? Like me being a Vietnamese fighter, boxing is very, very it wasn't even legal in Vietnam. So they looked at as the market, especially, Asian fighters in America. You got to be Manny Pacquiao, one of a kind, and Manny Pacquiao is one of a kind because first of all, he got the whole support of the whole country of Vietnam. Me as a Vietnamese fighter, I don't get the support for the Vietnamese. I mean, I got a few here and there, but not the whole country because the country was divided during the war. So me being an American citizen, they look at that as a, as a sore, because Vietnam was communist between North and South. The South was with the American side and the North. So it's like North Korea and South Korea. So they look at me as a South Korean, and the North Korean is controlling the country. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, my thing is, you still have to be put in a position to actually show what you can do. It's how you gain popularity. It's how you cross over to the casuals. Right. You beat Miguel Flores. You beat him, and then you bring you right back, bring you back again.
Right.
It give you opportunity. That's what I'm talking about. That's what kind of makes me mad about it. But as far as boxing and bare knuckle, I mean, obviously, besides the obvious, no padding and no, bare knuckles. What's the difference you see between the two sports?
Barrnet is a real fight. Like I said, I've been a boxer for many years. I focus on my career as a boxer. I put gloves on. I wrap my hands. Um, but I'm telling you, when you go to bare knuckle and you don't have that extra cushion and the extra hand wrap, if you don't train your hand properly after 2 rounds and you hit your opponent, your hand swells up. You don't want to hurt. You don't even want to throw a punch at your opponent. That's what happened in my first fight. When I fought Travis Thompson, even though I was boxing him, I was hitting him with everything. My hand was hurt by the third round. If you can see, when I throw a punch and I start shaking my hand, I'm like, man, this hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different transition. And secondly, once you be able to learn how to adapt, the punch is a lot quicker. The level of competition in bare knuckle is different. Most of those guys are street fighters. They throw a punch very awkward. They don't throw it like conventional fighters. Like boxer, we throw our punch conventional. We turn our knuckle, we don't throw it straight, right? Head movement. Those guys in bare knuckle are street fighters. You see them coming in, willing, coming from different angle. So most boxers can adapt to that. So like me, I grew up in Hawaii, so I've been to a few street fights. So I always had that mentality, that I could fight them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a boxer. If I need to box, I can box. But sometimes you got to be able to learn how to adjust. You can't just be a boxer straight up. You got to be able to use some of that boxing skill and adapt to the situation and convert a little bit.
Would you ever go back to boxing?
Yeah, that's my plan. That's my plan is to go back to boxing because right now 135 is a hot division. Like I said, when I was fighting professional in boxing, I was fighting 126, and that was a struggle. I used to walk around 140, 145, and I love to eat. And every time I gotta lose that weight in 4 or 5 weeks because they always give me short notice. They give me 4 or 5 weeks to train for a fight, and I gotta cut all that weight at the same time, train that very hard, and that's how I get sick. But 135 is a perfect weight for me. I lose 10 pounds. I walk around 145, so I drop 10 pounds. I don't cut that much muscle. And 135 right now is a hot division, and I want to be able to fight one of those champions. That's why I keep calling those guys out. Hopefully they give me a shot. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You did see? I did see the video you calling out Gervonta, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. They're supposed to be fighting. I believe they both have interim fights in between, and then they're supposed to be fighting. I believe in April. Who do you got?
Yeah. Those fights, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was saying, who do you got out of Gervonta, Tank Davis, and Ryan Garcia?
Like I said, Ryan has improved a lot in a short amount of time. He went to Canelo's trainer. He improved a lot. He learned a little bit. Now he's training with Goosen. But Tank is a very polished fighter. He's a very good fighter, high IQ, very good boxing, has a lot of power. I think if Tank hurts Ryan, he's done because Ryan stands straight up. He has no head movement. He uses range. He fights at the end of his range. So if Tank can, the problem with Tank is he's short. So Tank gonna have to learn how to get in that close range and hurt him, force him to fight. Walk him down with a Mexican style. So Ryan's gonna want to keep him at the end of his range. So it's basically gonna be like a Mayweather Pacquiao, not Mayweather, but Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar can't fight on the inside like that. So same thing with Ryan Garcia. Tank can fight on the inside. Tank can walk you down. He can walk. He can parry. He walk you down and break him down. So if Tank can get, like I said, the early rounds, the way that I play this fight out, the early round, Ryan's gonna win from the outside. But once Tank get comfortable and get past that jab, he gonna knock him out.
Okay.
I don't think Ryan has a good chin either, because his chin is way up over there. And then you know what I mean. Like when you fight tall like that, you work the body. You break the body, you bring the chin down. And Tank is a power puncher, and I like Tank. And like I said, the reason why I called those guys out, that was 2 years ago. When I called them out, that was my second fight in bare knuckle. And David, he don't like me calling those guys out because he feels that I should stay in bare knuckle. But yeah, I mean, if you want me to stay in bare knuckle, and I told David, look, if I'm not gonna make $1 million in bare knuckle at the end of my career, I'm wasting my time over here. You know what I mean? I'm wasting my time. I can go to boxing, fight 1 or 2 fights, and fight for a title shot. I make $1 million. You know what I mean? I can fight 2 fights, 2 fights, and fight Gervonta Davis and make $1 million. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, I mean, to put myself in that position, you know, look at Kambosos. Kambosos is a freaking not. This is like a regular fighter. He just trained hard. He has a little bit of speed. His level of IQ is not that high, and he's making $5 million for the last two fights. You know what I mean? More than that. You know, $5 million with David Haney, and then he making another $3 or $5 million. He's set for life. You make that kind of money, he's set. You making in Barrnet, you can fight 20 times and you still be struggling like the UFC fighters.
Mhm.
Even though you have a lot of followers, but you know there's only one Conor McGregor out there that's making that big money. You know, everybody's barely making $1 million.
I mean,
Nowadays, $1 million can't really do much. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You can buy one house and that money is gone. You can't even live off with that.
absolutely. I mean, Kambosos coming off of two losses to Devin Haney, like you said. He's
Right.
going to somebody. He's going to need somebody to come back. Maybe fight him in Australia. Would you be interested in that?
That's the fight I want. He'll be perfect fight. I'll beat him because you know he has a good jab and he's very conventional. Very conventional. You know what I mean? You walk him down. You walk him down. You force him to fight. You break him down. You know, you know, like I said, like when he fought Theo. Theo likes to be all fancy and dropping his hand, doing that Mayweather roll. You know what I mean? Anytime you drop your hand and do all that shit, you're giving your opponent a chance to capitalize on those mistakes you're making.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like I said, you gotta look at the fight as when you fight those kind of guys. You gotta look at the fight as a 12 round fight. You know what I mean? You gotta slowly. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know that was my mindset was wrong in my early career. I wanted to go in there and knock the guy out within 4 or 5 rounds.
Mm.
When you fight a 12 round fight, you know the championship round starts from round 6 up because the first 6 rounds are warm up round. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you hurt the guy, then you finish him. But I mean, if the guy is high level like you, it's gonna be a chess match after 6 rounds. You know what I mean? Because the first few rounds you feel him out. Once you feel him out, you get comfortable and you're like, oh, his punches doesn't mean shit. You just walk him down. That's what Canelo does. You know, I developed really good style of fighting. I watch a lot of fighters and my style. I close the distance. I close the distance and I force my opponent to exchange. That's the reason why a lot of prospect like Ryan Garcia and Gervonta, they at one point, their handler, the promoter,
Mm.
David Diaz reached out to me for Ryan Garcia, and Tank, his handler, reached out to me, and I guess once I accept the fight, they think it was a bad idea for them to take the fight with me, so they never called me back. So you know when I think they called me in 2014 or 13 when Tank was like 12 or 13-0 or something like that, and I accepted the fight, and they never get back with me. Same thing with Ryan Garcia.
What's the point of calling you then? Like,
Huh?
what's the point of
Well,
calling?
because they want to call you out of the blue, and if you're not training, they're like, you coming in for a payday. You coming in for a payday. You know what I
Mm.
mean? They're calling you for a payday. So like what happened when they call me? I said yes to them right away. You gotta play the game. You know, like I was young, and they call me. You know, they call me directly. Like Robert Dees will call me directly. Like, hey, Dad, you want to fight at Madison Square Garden? 5 weeks away, 4.5 weeks away. Um, you want to fight Ryan? You know what I mean? He doesn't mention the name, but you give me the hint, and I was like, yeah, I've been training a little bit. You know, I think I will be ready. Once you give them that extra confidence, like, man, this guy's been training. I
Yeah.
think you know what I mean. You gotta play the game. Like I kind of understand the game now because I gained so much wisdom over the business now. So I'll be like, you know what? I haven't been training. I'm out of shape. 4 or 5 weeks. I don't think I'll be in shape by then. Then they will send you the contract. But if you like, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, give me the contract. Send me the contract. I'm waiting for it. Can you send me a contract right away so I can start training? You know what I mean? They don't want to hear that.
I see. I got you. I got you. What's your thoughts on Shakur Stevenson? Shakur Stevenson, because he's moving up from 130 to 135. He's having a hard time finding opponents. What's your thoughts on him?
Shakur is a very, very high level, very smart boxer. He fights similar to like Terence Crawford. You know
Mm.
Terence Crawford, right? I actually fought on Terence Crawford co-feature fight when he fought on the Miguel Cotto undercard in 2013, and I fought Jason Valdez. He
Mm.
was the fight after me, so he fought this Russian guy. People were booing him. So I think one fight or two fights later, he fought Gamboa, and he knocked Gamboa out. I think after that fight, it shows the true side of him as a great fighter. Because I'm telling you, a lot of fighters, they're very, very great. They're very good boxer, but they never get to find themselves because they're not comfortable. They're not calm enough. They don't believe in themselves enough. After a certain fight, they believe in themselves more. That's why fighter grows. You know, if you look at Canelo when he fought Mayweather, he didn't have that kind of confidence. Now is a different fighter he is today
Mm-hmm.
because that experience, that he gained that wisdom and that knowledge, he become a different fighter. Same thing with Terence Crawford. I see how he grows as a fighter. I see same thing with that kid you just mentioned and Ryan Garcia. Same thing. They all growing. They all gonna get better. You know. Um, but Shakur Stevenson, he's a very good boxer, very relaxed, uh, very high IQ fighter. Like I said, the way to fight him is it's you gotta force him to fight. You know, he fights like I said, Terence Crawford, but not with as much power as Terence Crawford does.
Mm. Okay, okay. Um, I gotta ask. Hopefully, this fight does happen later, maybe end of this year, middle of this year, May. I don't know, but Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Who
But
you got?
Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. He's a very good boxer. Uh, Aaron Spence is very straightforward. You know, technical sound. I would say Terence Crawford will win this one.
Mm.
Because Terence is more elusive. You know what I mean? He's more elusive. He has longer reach than Spence. Spence comes to fight though. You know, it's gonna be a good match. I hope they're gonna fight soon because if they don't, you know, one of those guys lose like Anthony Joshua and the Underwater, right? Everybody was looking forward to that fight and they lost. That money is gone. I'm telling you, that's the reason why I think they want Gervonta Davis to fight Ryan Garcia because you know he's riding his hype right now because he's very vulnerable at his time. If he fights the right fight, he's gonna lose. You know,
Mm.
if he fights the wrong fight, like if he fights somebody like me, it's a 50-50 for him. I walk him down. I walk right through him. You know, I walk right through him. I'm gonna have because yeah, when you fight certain fights like that, you gotta have really good defense. You know, when you have good defense, you don't have to worry about the fighter hurting you. And after 6-7 rounds, their power wears out. That's when you get to break them down slowly. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you wear them down. Look at Pitbull, right? That kid, the Mexican kid who fought Tank.
Triple Cruz. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after he fought Tank, you know, he blow up because a lot of people saw that you know he was a good, pretty decent fighter, but he's one dimensional though. He's one dimensional. That's the guy I want to fight really, because he'll be right. He'll be perfect style for me because he'd be right in front of me. He'd be throwing all that. I'd be throwing loops right over him. You know what I mean?
Let's make that happen. He didn't have an
Yeah, I mean
opponent
that's
yet.
the fight. That's the fight. No, see, he's a fighter that a lot of fighters don't want to fight. That's the guy that I want to fight. I want to take on those challenge. You know what I mean? I hope that PBC reach out to me and get me that fight or whoever he's fighting with. You know?
I think he signed
Uh,
with Manny Pacquiao Promotions. We can, yeah, I'm gonna definitely get it to him now.
yeah, get me on there. I just need to train, get me back on active status again. You know, go to Mexico, fight a bum, knock him out.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's what they do. They, you know, those guys from South America, they got 20 wins. They fight all bums. You know what I mean? 20. I mean, only in America. Why do you think everybody comes to America to be a superstar? Because here, there's no playing around. You know, the commission's not gonna approve you to fight. You 20-0, you're not gonna be able to fight somebody that's 0-5. That shit will never allowed. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to look. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I said, I just need to get back on active status again and get those fights because I mean, even though that I'm getting a little older, I haven't fought. You know, I only fought 13 times in 9 times in 13 years, so that's very unheard of. You know, yeah.
What's your thoughts on PEDs?
Oh, pens.
Yeah, fans.
You know what? I was so stupid before. When I was in my 20s, 30s, I would read a lot. I didn't read as much as I did now. You know, I follow boxing. You know what? All those high level elite fighters have a special nutritionist, right?
Mm.
They can use a certain substance that can mask everything. I'm pretty sure. You know, remember when Mayweather was accusing Pacquiao of using steroid?
Mhm.
I mean, you know, look at Mayweather. Mayweather will always look good, but look, he didn't even look better at his age right now. I mean, you know what I mean? So when you're fighting somebody that is on that shit, you better get on that shit to be on level, even playing field. So I think look at Andrew Berto. He's a friend of mine. That dude is a diesel. I mean, he's on it too. Everybody's on it. I mean, I'm telling you, they find a way. There is so many different substance out there that you cannot be traced. Look at Lance Armstrong, right? Lance Armstrong, 40 years, 40 some years, winning so many Tour de France. Hey, but this guy is amazing. That guy was doping all this time. Come on. So don't even play that game with me. Like when I was younger, I was naive. Like, oh, I worked so hard. Why my body never looked like that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I always tired? Those guys on steroid. They got that extra energy, that extra oxygen in their body. It
Mm-hmm.
depends what you take, and it keeps them young. Look, 90, I would say 95 to 98% of the fighters in the UFC are on some kind of bullshit. Same thing with the boxers here. Don't even tell me like that you want to get to the elite level, you gotta be on it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be on it. If you're not on it, you're gonna be like me, never get anywhere. You know what I mean? You're gonna always getting freaking cut out in last minute bullshit and get sick at the end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of those young guys, they never. But once they get up to Gervonta Davis or Ryan Garcia level, they got money behind them, people
Mm-hmm.
behind them protecting that asset.
I got you. I got you. Um, I seen that you just recently built a gym in your house. Like, do you prefer to train at your house, or do you prefer to kind of travel and go off and this is
You know,
during
I
camp?
I, I
During
I
camp.
would love to go to a training camp, but like I said, they're not paying me like training camp money. You know what I mean? I asked them for training camp money. They're not gonna send it to me. You know what I mean? I was like, look, if you fight for a big fight on TV, top like if you were one of the top ranked fighters and you're fighting for $200,000-300,000 fight, they're gonna send you 20 grand here, 20 grand, training expenses. Go ahead, go down to Miami or go down to somewhere and get you a training camp set up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in that kind of situation, so I have to do the best of what I can do. So I built the gym here at my house, so I can access it anytime. It always keep me in shape if I'm always doing a little bit of training here and there. So that's the reason why I'm still in the sport after 13 years. In 2009, I opened my own boxing gym and I was training people for a living. When you train people for a living, even though you don't train yourself, you are actually in decent sync. You're actually in the sport of boxing still, and that's the reason why I opened a gym to keep my in the sport of boxing. To fulfill my dream as a world champion.
Okay. What do you think about because I mean you've been fighting for a long time, like you
Yeah.
said. What do you think about like social media stars jumping in the ring and the Jake Pauls of the world?
That's today's generation. The we never had that. When I first started out boxing, we never had social media like that. We had MySpace, but with Instagram and Facebook, it kind of changed the playing field a little bit. The promoter look at which fighter is more market or which fighter has more follower, and that's what they look forward to. Sometimes a lot of the boxing people, like the fans that tune into boxing, they're just tuning in just for one fight. After that, they don't care about it. And that's the Jake Paul's fan base. They just tune in because they want to watch the idol. You know what I mean? That they've been following for 5 6 years because that dude was the Disney kid, right? He was one of the Disney kids or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've been following him, and same thing with his brother Logan Paul, and they want to tune into to the idol and see how those guys do. It's all curiosity.
I mean, do you think like if they do a good job of marketing themselves to the casuals?
Yeah, I mean they know how to market themselves. Well, once you get money behind you and you got the right publicists and the right people that is handling your social media, they promote you. They know that's their job. They know what's gonna go viral and what's not, and they got the right publicity. As you can see, every time Jake Paul fight, you see he's on every single news website, every single boxing website. Because you know why? Those publicists reach out to those websites and say, "Look, we're gonna give you a couple $100 here. Put this on your website." You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it takes money to make money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and hopefully, the boxing promoter learns that. A lot of boxing they got a lot of beef with among each other, but Top Rank has been around forever. They got a multi-billion-dollar deal with ESPN. So they kind of monopolize. ESPN is a huge platform. That's the only cable network that is still around that
Absolutely.
people watch.
I mean, well, we got the fight January 27th in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, against Johnny Bedford. What is, what message do you have for Johnny Bedford?
Johnny been calling me out since December. So I think he knows that's the fight that David's gonna give it to him. So me, being an outcast, I told you I was an outcast. David don't even talk to me for months. I don't even talk to nobody from Bkfc. And then he reached out to me and said, "You want to get back to bare knuckle?" I said, "Yeah." I mean, I thought you guys kind of put me on the side. So, put me on the side, just release me so I can go back to boxing. You know. Uh, I know what I'm capable. I know what my talent are. You know what I mean? I know what I can bring to the table. When I fight, people tune in because they know that I'm bringing high level, boxing level skills. And I come to fight. I don't run, and that's the viewership. Even though I don't have the huge following, people actually tune in when I fight. So with Johnny, it's gonna be a war again. It's gonna be a war, but I'm gonna be more calculated this time. I'm looking more calculated. I'm not gonna expose any of my tactics, but I'm more calculated. I'm looking to be more impressive on this fight.
Okay. We're looking forward to it. Everybody tune in January 27th. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. BKFC 35 is going down. Dat Nguyen. Please, hey, let the people know where to find you at, man.
Oh, guys, you guys can find me on Instagram. I use basically only Instagram. I have a Facebook page as well. You can find me on both at dat be dat. So my first name and be my first name again. And I'll be on Instagram. The more follower I get, the more popular I get, the more David will force to pay me, and if not, I'll go back to boxing because I already won the world title in bare knuckle. So what else could I accomplish in there? You know what I mean? I can like I fought Palomino, who's a two-weight champion, 20 pounds heavier than me. So I mean, if they're not paying me no money to fight those guys, it's not worth it. I go back to boxing.
All right. We appreciate you, champ, man. Thank you for your time.
And thank you for having me, brother.
All
Talk to you
right.
guys soon. Okay.